anybody that you're just slaughtering the elderly? And for what? For a couple bucks? Really? How do you live with yourself? And what part of the bottle are you looking down into or looking up from? What kind of injectable are you taking that's slowly eating you from the inside out? You know, like I said, these are the people that have that piece of paper that you're so enamored with. Oh, he must know what he's doing. He's got a piece of paper. Which is only good to wipe your arse. You know. And this is true not just in the medical. I mean, how many times have you gone to a car mechanic? How many times have you gone to an automotive shop or a mechanic? And he's got all these papers saying he can do blah blah. He's a specialist in this, and this. And yet the guy can't do jack shit when it comes to working on your car or a woman. I always keep it balanced. You know, I don't want the guy saying, "Well, you're being a sexist," and I don't want the woman saying, "I'm being a sexist." You know, yeah, I treat everybody the same. I don't give a shit who you are. You know, I don't give a shit about your color. I don't give a shit about your gender. I don't give a shit about anything. You know, if you're an idiot, you're an idiot. Period. I don't care. And that being an idiot doesn't qualify you because you're colored that you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot because you're an idiot. We have colored people that are idiots. We have non-colored people or people of lighter skin color who are idiots. We have people who have, you know, are males and females, idiots. We have those who claim that they are whatever they are, idiots. You know? I have no problem with any of it. It's all the same. If you're an idiot, you're an idiot. If you're not, you're not. If you're intelligent, you're intelligent. Doesn't matter where you're coming from with this. So my point here on all of this is I'm trying to make a connection here. That, you know, how many times have you gone to a lawyer's office? Got all these degrees all over the place. Like, this is really impressive. And that piece of paper gives them the right to charge like $1,000 or $10,000 just to come say hello. Hi, how you doing? $10,000. You're paying for my university debt. My house payment, my car payment, my insurance payment, my alimony payments for my 10 wives. You're paying for that. You know, that's something that Canadians really have to start to think again. Are you going to see a guy because he actually knows what he's doing? Are you going to see a gal that actually knows what she's doing? Are you going to go see somebody because they know what they're doing and can do what they say or can do what, you know, you need to get done? I'll go to a guy who knows how to work on cars, who doesn't have a piece of paper, but I know damn well the guy knows how to work on a car. I have had friends of mine build me a computer that don't have any certifications whatsoever, and the thing is top of the line operating systems that they have built for me. You know, I have gone to places where I know people that can do things, you know, that are very gifted, that can do things, and they get done correctly, and they don't have any pieces of paper. Imagine that. So again, my whole theme here on all of this is this, you know, when you got somebody that knows what they're doing, they don't need a piece of paper. They can basically, their reputation will exceed themselves. And when you start talking to people that they've actually helped in some form or fashion, that's the best attribute anybody can get, is that someone has come to you, you've done a good job for them, and that will speak volumes. You know, that will speak in huge volumes. Like I said, we got a mayor in the city of Windsor who's got no brain. We got a police department that doesn't understand what public transportation is. Again, has no brain. This is unbelievable. What we saw the other night here, mistreating a young woman. She's on the bus going home. All she wanted to do was get home, and the bus driver made such a big stink. And instead of the police officer telling the bus driver that the actual mandates were, that the woman was actually within her rights and didn't have to wear a mask because she had a health exemption. Instead, they decided to manhandle, showing off that they got the power. Oh, we got the power. We can take care of, beat up little girls instead of doing their job. This is unbelievable. This is totally unbelievable. Don't know the law themselves, and they're supposed to be up there to uphold the law. Wow. public transportation. That means Joe Public is paying for that service. Joe Public has a right to get on a bus or a service that the public is paying for through their taxes, irrespective. And if there are mandates out there that give people exemptions to be able to use those services, then it's the duty of the police officers to uphold that right as well. And yet here we are, you know, piece of paper, dumb as a bag of rocks, couldn't tie her shoe with Velcro, pick on a little woman. Really? And yet the woman that was driving the bus, all they had to do is look at the phone and see she too was not wearing the mask. That would have been solved in 10 seconds after seeing the footage there. Okay, after seeing the footage there, that would have been solved in 10 seconds. If you didn't wear a mask, you can't expect the customers to come in here to wear one either. I hope she sues the city for a good chunk of change, $1 million at least, maybe 10 million, and then sues the officers for the abuse, which was all unnecessary. And maybe these officers need to get educated on what a public domain is. I don't know. Maybe they didn't show up for class that day. You know, piece of paper. Remember that. Canadians have to understand, and we've all done this. Every one of us has done this. You know, there we go. Every one of us have done this. Have gone to people that we know that aren't really certified in anything, that know exactly what needs to be done on whatever level that needs to be done, and can do it better than some of these shops that you go to that got all these people certified. We've all done it. And we've all done it to save a little money too. You go to a shop, it's $3,000 million, you go see the guy, he charges you $40 for a 6-pack of beer. You know, and away you go. We've all done it. And we've all seen the benefits of doing this. And this, believe it or not, is a very good bartering system to have. If you got a skill set, and you know how to do stuff, why don't you guys start teaching these things on the internet? Charge people a consultation fee. You know, people will be more than glad to pay it. They'll be more, keep it reasonable, you know, help people any way you can. You'll be surprised how this will create that new dichotomy that we're going to need to develop, because if they do decide, if they are talking about shutting down the cash system in 30 days, if that actually is going to happen, then I would encourage every Canadian to take your dollars right now, put them either in American banks or European banks, or some offshore banks, where you'll have your cash safe. If Canada wants to go broke that badly, then we can help it along. You know, meanwhile, our money is safe outside the country. You know, if the federal government wants to bankrupt the whole country, well, what the hell? We'll help them. Take your money, put it elsewhere, put it in silver, put it in gold, put it in crypto, put it in banks offshore. It won't matter. At least then you'll have access to your cash. For now. This is going to become a global thing here. You know, I'm going to present this as well up here a little way. Okay, and then we get to Utah. Utah. How many of you seen what's gone on in Utah? Little Utah. Man, them people in Utah had a heyday with the school board there. They were having a meeting about the masking of their kids, and every parent was saying, get rid of that shit. And you know what? The board lost control. They motioned to call it a day. They did, and then they all quit. They realized that they were going to have a riot on their hands, and they got out of Dodge. And you know what happened after that? And this is Canadians. We need to look at this. We need to see this. Utah. If Utah can do it, anybody in Canada can do this. Utah, then what they did, it was Vail, Utah, I believe. Yeah, a Vail school district in Utah. They elected 5 people, which they have the right to do. And what wound up happening, the first thing they did was mandatory masking was no longer going to be mandatory. It was going to be completely open, and there would be no retribution to anybody who didn't wear a mask going to school. Imagine that. Imagine that. The link will be here. Hopefully this will inspire all Canadians from pillar to post, tip to top, side to side, you know, about what we should be doing here. Our kids are going to school having to wear a frickin' diaper on their face, okay, which is now causing them to regurgitate their own shit that they're breathing, which is causing strain on the heart, strain on, and this goes right along with what that Jacques Attali said, that they would create a situation, you know, where they would get people to believe the whatever bullshit, and they would line up to take the shot, and they have, and we've seen that in Toronto. I mean, a good mile-long lineup. I mean, we got some real dumbasses in Toronto, I got to tell you. Stupid, you know. Well, we'll see it here in Windsor, we'll see it in London, we'll see it in St. Catharines, we'll see it in Sarnia, we'll see it everywhere. People will line up because they have no brain. They got no brain. Brain's gone. God wasn't kind. When it came to brains, God said, well, we'll put in grains instead. And they'll have glyphosate and genetic modifications as well. And we'll sprinkle a little chemtrail on top of that. Little lithium, little aluminum, little fluoride. What the heck? Imagine that. A school board getting replaced by people that actually gave a shit. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? You know, they're already indicating that they've got scanners coming in now, palm scanners, where you can scan your palm so that you can buy shit. China's coming in. China's taking over. Look out! Here comes China. You know, China. Gonna take over. We're gonna call it Chinamerica, or Chinamerica, or China-America, just like Canada. Welcome to Canada. We're no longer Canadian. Our flag is down. We got the hammer and sickle, or the 5 stars, or whatever you want to have up there. Probably gonna be some brand new design, because it won't be communism. See, everyone thinks communism's coming. It's not going to be communism. No. Communism works. There's benefit to communism. We're heading toward authoritarianism. This is going to be the worst thing ever. Authoritarianism, where people are going to just be told what to do, and they will obey it without question. A gestalt, if you will. This is what they want to do. The small percentage of so-called think tanks have figured out that the general population can be easily manipulated because they are not educated. They're very programmable, and they can be programmed, and they are being programmed to be programmed into fear, where the dumb will line up to be slaughtered. This is what we're seeing. This is what they said. This is what's going on. Imagine that. So now they're talking about, one guy was showing you a machine that came from China. I forget the name of the company. And you'll be able to either slide your stuff down there, or if you've got the chip in your hand, because they got this thing for your hand, where the reader will read that chip in your hand. You know, this is what they want. Once you lose cash, once you lose your stash of cash, you will have no power, nothing. You'll be completely under an authoritarian system, just like they are in China. You won't be able to even fart on the left side of your ass without them giving them your permission for them to do so. And if you don't get the permission, they'll just stop the flow of your dough. That's how it's going to go. Man, I'm a rapper tonight. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. You will not be able to form any kind of resistance to anything that is ungodly, unlawful, or unethical. They will be able to create whatever dynamic they want. As a result, if you decide to say you will not comply, they'll just shut down the flow of cash. This bullshit about giving everybody $2,000 a month in Canada, that's the biggest fraud coming. If you can be pacified for $2,000, you are one cheap whore, I gotta say. Call it what it is. You're just one cheap whore. You know, $2,000 a month won't even buy you a meal up the way. The price, everyone keeps thinking in terms of here and now, and this is what the government is counting on. The government is counting on that you're so stupid that you cannot look and connect the dots between now and then. $2,000 a month may buy you something now, barely. By the time you pay the high rents, by the time you pay the high cost of groceries, by the time you pay the high cost of whatever transportation, you ain't gonna have nothing left. You are going to live from hand to mouth, month to month. You won't even be able to buy cigarettes like you're buying right now. And as far as cannabis goes, that is going to be so pricey. Just to eat at your rate of money that they're going to give you. Like I said, you're going to be one cheap whore. You know, the black market will thrive. Oh, in that situation, the black market is going to thrive. Whether or not there's going to be cash or not, it'll thrive. I'll tell you how it'll thrive. They've already given you the way to make it work. You know, I'll give you the secret. It's really not a secret. It's right there, right now. You'll be able to transfer funds from your account to somebody else's account. Just that easy. Just that easy. Oh, you know, and then you can say you went and bought groceries or whatever you want to say you bought, but you'll be able to transfer from one account to another, or transfer from one bank to another, or depending on how they got the system set up. It will be more difficult to have a black market, but one will exist. But they'll have set up with systems of their own, banking systems that you can transfer your funds to those banks, which will not be even traced. Their system is already flawed before it even gets into place. The military has systems like this already, so that when they get money coming into their programs, these black ops programs, that money doesn't even show up anywhere, because it goes into these systems that they have, which are separate, that are, again, have a banking front to them. That's how it works. That's how it all works. And that's what you're going to have to do to survive, because $2,000 a month, quite frankly, you are one cheap whore. I have to say it. We're going to put it straight out, a whore. A whore that has no brains. They're thinking, ooh, $2,000, wow, ooh, ooh, ooh. You notice how they've inflated the cost of houses in this area, in all the areas? Now in Windsor, Ontario, you're going to be paying $480,000 for a house in this city. We're talking the old run-down house, $480 grand. Wow. That's what's going on. So imagine what it's going to cost you to rent a room up the way. Probably closer to $1,200 or $1,400 a month. That only leaves you $600 to pay your utilities, to eat, and to go and do whatever job they tell you to do. Today you're going to shovel elephant shit and turn it into fertilizer. You know, tomorrow you're going to be, castrating bulls. And the next day you're going to be, whatever. You know, I'm making this sound horrid, I know, but I'm trying to get this really across, because that's the only way you're going to be thinking in these terms. You know, are you ready for the beast coming towards the spotted country you live in? Your rights are about to be totally lost, and your privileges are going to be nothing but a memory. And those of us who will remember the good old days when you had a stash of cash, that will be just a memory. And that's where it's going. Because these young people today don't have any concept or any clue. They have been so coddled and so pandered that now the government can step right in and take over mom and dad's role. That's the way it is. That's what's going on. And again, there's a thing about a palm scanner. Well, we've seen this before, where you take your palm and scan it, and now they'll be able to do it, because between the nanotechnology that you've got already in your body and the assembly of whatever microchip or nanochip they put in your system, it'll be able to read it. It'll be able to read the fact that you've been, injected with this injectable that will register a chip inside your system. You will be the cash. You will be the cash. It's like that movie I saw where they had this computer network jacked into people, and it was a timer. And you only had, and when that timer ran out, you died. It disengaged your life support inside your body. Disengaged your DNA, disengaged your central nervous system, disengaged your heart. It just shut you down. So the more time you had loaded up, the longer you lived. And the longer and it was designed, again, to, again, where you worked just enough to have enough time to get you through the next day. You know, it was crazy. Now we're going to be doing the same thing. You are going to be the cash. And once you're tapped out, guess what? Push of the button, you're no longer here. You have become the automaton that they wanted you to become. And now this is the transhuman that you are going to get. This is it. This is the transhuman that they have been talking about, and they have now incorporated into the general population. The transhuman, you are going to be smarter, you're going to be faster, you're going to run harder, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You are going to do what they tell you, how they tell you, when they tell you. And if you don't do what they say, they push the button and you have gone bye-bye. You have no cash. If you don't want to comply and they decide that they're not going to push the button, but just going to teach you a hard lesson that they are in control. And because you have become their little transhuman automaton, where they can push a button and disengage you, you know, this is where it's going to happen. You will have that transhuman that they're talking about, but it won't be what you think. It never is. They never told you the truth. They never were going to tell you the truth. They will always contort and invert the words and to give them the advantage, and you will believe one thing based on how you've been taught to interpret the structure of communication. They, on the other hand, will be using that communication as a form of code to tell you what you want to hear. They don't tell you how it's going to happen. They don't tell you how it's going to manifest. All they're going to tell you is that, yeah, you'll be better, you'll be faster, or as they said, the saying, they're going to take everything away from you, and you're going to be happy. You'll own nothing and be happy. Of course you'll be happy. You'll be able to live on nothing. You won't have nothing. You won't be able to do anything except follow orders. That's it. Follow orders. Can you imagine that? Imagine, you know, the only way you're going to make money is by gambling. Imagine that. You have your debits and credits, and see what happens is you debit out so much money, you go try to gamble to build up your economy, you know, and work away to your account, and it turns out either you made it big or you lost everything, and next thing you know, boom, you're gone. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Actually, two more things. Okay, they've just came up with a way to create a real-life hologram and can make it look very realistic. Now, the next time you look at the moon, wear some yellow lenses and see what emits from the moon. Does it emit a yellow hue? Does it emit a green hue? If it's a yellow hue, good chance that's the moon. If it emits a green hue, it's a good chance that may be an illusion. Imagine that. And so when you read the article, again, connect the dots. And another thing now that they want to present is your brain. Your brain. You free thinker, you rebel, you truther, you protester, you anarchist. They want to be able to put a magnetic protein into your brain. And that they'll be able to, from a distance, be able to control the way you think. Wow. Okay, there's your transhuman. Aren't you happy? You're going to be a transhuman. You're going to be a puppet on a button. Push the button. Watch. Oh, look. They're really pissed off. Oh, press another button. Oh, look. They're really crying. Oh, press another button. Oh, look. They're laughing their ass off. Press another button. Oh, look. They're in somewhat, some somber thinking, and if you're looking, they're depressed. Oh, press another button. Imagine that. Imagine that. Connect the dots. This is not that far away. And again, we're seeing this, and that means it's already been instituted, incorporated, or advanced. By the time we see a lot of this data, it's usually about 5 years outdated. Even though it may have been printed recently, the majority of information that we're seeing is at least 5 to 10 years outdated. That means wherever we saw this, it's for 5 to 10 years further up the road. Remember that. It's just how it is. Alrighty, I think I'm getting near the end here. I am. Okay, so as I always stated at the end of these shows, I always say read the Gospels. There's a reason why I'm telling you to read the Gospels. There's a very strong reason why I'm telling you to go and see what Jesus had to say. Now I hear all kinds of things, about the Bible, and I've heard all kinds of things about all these books, but at this point in time, this is the only thing that we really have to look at, because all the prophetic utterances that are going, whether you want to call them predictive programming, whether you want to, whatever you want to call it, the scheduling, the bulletin, I forget what they call those things. You go to see a play and they give you the scenes when they're coming in and on, the schedule, however you want to call it, doesn't matter. This is what they're following right now. This is the script that they're using. So in order to know what's going on, this is the script you have to read. Doesn't matter what other new age bullshit that's out there floating around. Most of that's what is based on this anyway. Majority of it is based on what the CIA has written a while back. So when you're looking at the events today, and you're looking at the biblical references to these events, you're going to start scratching your head and seeing where they're correlating, and they're correlating quite accurately. Actually, there was something I wanted to point out, and I almost forgot it, and because I started talking about the Bible. See if I can find it real quick. I believe it's Revelations 18:24, but you got to look at the Revised Standard, because they put it in there a little bit differently than the other versions, but it seems to be more applicable than the other ones. Well, I shouldn't say more applicable, it's just different. Give me 1 minute here. Aha! Get down to it. Alrighty. Let me read this. See if this sounds like today. I'll post this because I think it's really important that everybody reads this. Let me read this. So, Babylon, the great city, be thrown down with violence and should be found no more. And the sound of the harpers and minstrels, of flute players and trumpeters, musicians, okay, we'll call them musicians, artists, whatever, shall be heard in there no more. And craftsmen of any craft, that's anybody who does anything with their hands, again, merchants and whatever, shall be found in thee no more. And the sound of the millstone shall be heard in thee no more. In other words, and again, this is what it's saying, shall be heard in thee no more. And the light of a lamp shall shine in thee no more. The reason why I'm saying this particular verse here and some of the rest of them is because people have told me that work in different alternative healing arts have told me that once people have taken the vaccine or taken the injectable, that the light in them seems to have gone. That they no longer seem to be who they were. That there's a disconnect now of their soul. That's what I've been hearing. And it says, and the light of a lamp shall shine in thee no more, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard in thee no more. Now this is what it says here. This is a real important part here. It says, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, and all nations were deceived by their sorcery. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and all that have been slain on the earth. That is your Fauci. That is your Bill Gates. That is your prime ministers. That's your presidents. That's your parliamentarians. That's all these pharmaceutical companies. That's all your drug companies. That's all your allopaths that have gone along with this bullshit. That's everyone that's connected to this sorcery. And sorcery, back in those days, was tied to pharmacopoeia. Imagine that. So when I read this, I thought this was very apropos to what we're dealing with today. And I thought everyone should read it, should see it, that here it is, they're telling us, here's the script, here's the schedule, here is the thing we need to look at, because this is telling us what's going on. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, and all nations were deceived by their sorcery. The TV, media, I would say the media and the pharmaceutical companies are about the strongest, most powerful influences we have on this planet. They are the medium, and mediums are usually referring to something demonic. They are the medium that causes the changes in the way people perceive, see, and think. And when you're using all nations are deceived by the sorcery, by the drug, by the pandemic, by the and somebody said, well, you're just adding that in there. Am I? Is this what's going on right now? Isn't this exactly what we're seeing today? Just something for those of you who might want to ponder this when again, I am going to post this. You know, I'm just, and again, this is how I perceive it. This is how I'm looking at it. Now, again, you may disagree. That's cool. You know, I'm okay with that. You're entitled to your opinion. But when you actually look at this and begin to see this reference here and how it's referred to what appears to be the events going on right now, same thing. And we're at this juncture right now. I don't believe in coincidences, and when I see certain things like this that seem to be correlating to the events of what's happening, I think perhaps maybe we should pay attention. This is why I tell you to read what Jesus had to say. This is why I tell you to read what the Gospels are saying, because this is where you're going to find these kind of messages and then God will open your eyes to them. I hear people tell me all the time. I had a guy down, I think it was down in the U.S., and you know, I spoke about Jesus and reading the Gospels, and he did. He decided to read them, and he thanked me for it. And he says, "Keep on doing. Keep telling people about reading about Jesus. You know, about Jesus. You know, I'm not going to stop. You know, for sure." So there you are. That's one of the reasons why I'm telling you read the Gospels. This is why I'm telling you don't let anybody bullshit you with whatever doctrine, dogma, cockamamie thing there. Read it for yourself. You know, let Jesus' words speak to you. That's how I'm thinking anyway. Because you got so many ministers up there, so many preachers that don't know shit from their ass, and they will preach whatever doctrine and dogma, and some of them are Zionists, some of them are Jesuits, some of them are Masonic. They're all corrupt, they're all contemptible, and they all need to be shot and pissed on for deceiving people and manipulating. All the natives that were killed in the past were killed by Jesuits, and the Jesuits used the gospel to murder innocent natives for no reason. That wasn't God's will, not from what I see anyway. You know, and again, the interpretation of some of these things and the impact that they created over decades of what they caused. And again, this goes on all the time. The Catholic Church has been doing it. The Protestant churches have been doing it. Some of the non-denominational elements have been doing it. This is some of the things. This is why I say read it for yourself. Because you'll find little tidbits like that. They'll say, "Oh, look at this, look at that," you know, that kind of thing. All right, I didn't mean to belabor it that long, but sorry about that. But I want to emphasize that there are also people on the site that are doing stuff and that are trying to help you out, trying to give you a heads up on a reality check of what's going on today. You know, I think you know, it wouldn't hurt to check them all out. You got the Liberty Channel, you got Deanna Spindola, you got Fiona, you got Sherry Three Hearts Church, you got Aramac, you got Oriani, you got Shai, you got Ty, you got Brian, you got myself. You got a bunch of people there that are doing stuff. You got Catherine. Is she here? Okay, Catherine's in here somewhere. You got Catherine also doing stuff. So again, you know, I'm encouraging you to check out these people, check out the sites, and you know, do what you can to help them out financially if you can. If you can't, no big deal. Help out by sharing the information. Share the information. Share the data. Alrighty. So as I always say, to the next, you know, by the grace of God, we're still here. So till the next segment, to your health. See you then. Take care.
Oops.